When 45 firefighters are trapped by a wall of flame, their foreman makes a decision no rule book prepared him for. He forces them into an abandoned mine tunnel. When one man tries to run back into the fire, he draws his revolver. By morning, 5 men are dead, 40 alive. The man who saved them will spend his life paying for his own bandages. It's August 1910, and the town of Wallace, Idaho, sits in a canyon so narrow the forest presses in on both sides. 3,000 people live here. Ed Pulaski is 40 years old, not a college man, not one of the Yale-trained foresters the Forest Service has been sending west. He's a former miner and blacksmith who knows these mountains from the inside out, having spent years underground in them. That knowledge makes him a ranger the locals actually trust. And in the summer of 1910, trust is in short supply. The forests of the Northern Rockies haven't seen real rain in months. When lightning rolls through on July 26th, it ignites nearly 1,000 fires in a single night. Pulaski takes charge of a crew in the Coeur d'Alene National Forest. Immigrant laborers, drifters, whoever the Forest Service can hire and march into the mountain. For 3 weeks, they hold the line. Barely. On August 19th, Pulaski rides down out of the smoke to find his wife and daughter. His message is one word: leave. He's back on the fireline the next morning. He will not see them again for a long time. Saturday, August 20th. In the afternoon, a cold front slams into the Bitterroots, and the wind begins to rise. Locals call it the Palouse wind. Today, it's blowing at hurricane force, 70 miles an hour, funneling through the narrow canyons like a bellows into a forge. 1,000 small fires stop being 1,000 small fires. They merge into one. Survivors will describe flames moving at the speed of a charging horse. In 36 hours, the fire will consume 3 million acres, an area the size of Connecticut, gone in a day and a half. Pulaski and his 45 men are on the west fork of Placer Creek, high in the mountains above Wallace, when the wind finds them. They are cut off, fire on every side, and the only way out is through it. Pulaski knows these mountains from his mining days. He knows one place the fire cannot follow them: an abandoned mine tunnel, the Nicholson adit. He drives his men through the smoke at a dead run. The fire is faster. One man falls behind and is never seen alive again. They reach the tunnel as the flames arrive with them. 44 men stumble into the wet darkness. The fire outside begins pulling the oxygen from the mine. The timbers at the entrance catch fire. Men scream that they would rather die in the open than suffocate underground. One man breaks for the entrance. Ed Pulaski draws his revolver. He stands silhouetted against the burning tunnel mouth and gives the order that saves their lives. The next man who runs, he will shoot. No one leaves. Pulaski hangs blankets soaked in mine water across the entrance, beating back the flames with his bare hand. The smoke drops the men unconscious one by one. Finally, it takes Pulaski too. Hours later, in the grey hours before dawn, a voice in the darkness says the boss is dead. From the floor of the tunnel comes the reply. Like hell he is. Pulaski is alive. Blinded in one eye, his hands and lungs badly burned. Of the men who made it into the tunnel, all but 5 survive the night. They crawl out over the bodies of the fallen into a world of ash. The green mountains they walked through the day before no longer exist. Pulaski is alive, blinded in one eye, hands and lungs burned so badly he'll never fully recover. Of the 45 men who followed him into the mountains, 5 are dead. Of the 44 who made it into the tunnel, all but 5 survived the night. He becomes a national hero almost overnight. Newspapers run his story. The Forest Service, which Congress wanted to defund just months earlier, gets its budget doubled on the strength of stories like his. And then the government he nearly died protecting spends years fighting him over the cost of his own medical treatment. Pulaski never asks for more than what he's owed. He goes back to work. And in his blacksmith shop, using the same skills that once told him where to find shelter underground, he designs something new. A single steel head, one wooden handle, an axe blade on one side, a grubbing hoe on the other. One tool that can both cut and dig a fireline, so the next crew, caught in the open, has a faster way to build their own escape. More than a century later, on wildfires all over the country, crews are still carrying his name in their hands. Every time a hotshot crew cuts a line through timber, they're using a tool built by a man who once held a gun on his own crew to keep them alive. Ed Pulaski never set out to be remembered. He just refused to let 45 men die on his watch. Did Ed get burned by his government? We'll leave that for you to decide. Thanks for watching. If you want more stories like this, subscribe so you don't miss the next one.